and they say it's got to be a hoax. Well, no, it doesn't have to be a hoax. If it's part of that mother language,
yes,
it's going to have combinations of all these because all these other languages emanated from them. One of the things I want to talk about, because it's something I've been involved with, and it's very close to both our hearts, is the Cobrin. From everything Alan says, this is an incredibly old language. This is an incredibly old alphabet. My guess is that Cobrin may very well be the mother language, or
right.
at least a language that Cobrin emanated from. We talk on this continent of when people went in timbering, they cut down the first growth, and then we talk about the second growth and the third growth. Well, with Cobrin, it's at least goes back to it will at least be third growth of development of languages. And that being the case, you have all sorts of languages. You have Phoenician, you have Egyptian, you have
and Sanskrit and things like that.
Sanskrit, all kinds of languages. And the runic letters of the Vikings. I saw on your website, somebody had posted showing relationship between runic letters and Cobrin, and how many of the letters cross over.
Yeah, Flasshelt, I think, or something. The Danish writing. Yeah.
And on this continent, when something is found, and we find tons of this stuff. I mean, you're talking, if we put it all in one room, we'd have a big building, a big museum of this kind of material. The Lost Luna Stone in New Mexico. It's the Ten Commandments. And everybody say, well, it's Paleo-Hebrew. Well, anytime I hear Paleo-Hebrew, my first thought, oh, I know what that is.
Yes.
Yeah. Old Hebrew is Cobrin.
yeah, they can't, they never actually read it properly,
But nobody's gonna, well, not everybody's, only a few people would even say Cobrin. But I did an article, and I was talking about the Bat Creek Stone and the Lost Luna Stone, the Mystery Mountain Stone, the Grave Creek Tablet. All these are Cobrin. And what I said was that here you got a mother language. Now, they say these are hoaxes because they have Phoenician in them, they have Greek in them,
yes.
They have Scandinavian in them, they have, and they say it's got to be a hoax. Well, no, it doesn't have to be a hoax. If it's part of that mother language, it's going to have combinations of all these because all these other languages emanated from them. And
exactly.
I was in Bosnia working on my film on the Bosnian pyramids. And they had a stone in the Ravni tunnels. This pyramidal structure there has massive tunnels underneath. And there's a stone in there. And I looked at the stone and I said, that's Cobrin.
I bet that went down well, yeah.
And they said, well, how old is this? Well, said, the pyramid has been, they did find something that can carbon date. It's got a polymer made kind of stones, and in one of those had a leaf had fallen, and they captured the leaf when they made it. And
okay.
So they were able to carve and date.
Clever stuff, yeah.
And they got 29,000 years old.
Wow.
29,000 years old. So I said, well, how old is this tunnel here? And they said, well, we know that the tunnel was at least somewhere around 12,000 years old, maybe older, but at least that old. And I'm saying, okay, you know, this is about the same time as Göbekli Tepe, you know.
Yep.
Same general time period. Now, and they filled up these tunnels. They filled them up purposely. And they filled them up. They had to fill them up for a reason. They were trying to protect something, but they weren't trying to hide anything. I mean, they must have seen some kind of disaster coming. And, you know, same with Göbekli Tepe. They covered that whole city up with sand. That was done on purpose. Now,
yeah, that's very strange, isn't it?
Yeah. They had to be thinking in terms like, I don't know if they were thinking in those terms. They were probably surprised in 562 when the comet hit Britain. I don't know if they were standing around planning for that or not. But at one time, evidently, people did know about these things, and you know, they said, "Oh, we're gonna get hit hard. What can we do to protect what we've got?" So they filled up these tunnels. That language is so permeating everything that they look at, they say is a hoax. Well,
yes.
It's
frustrating business, yeah.
It's absurd to think that you got millions of hoaxers running around spending their whole lives without eating.
For no real benefit for doing it either, yeah.
No.
There's no obvious incentive, is there?
I don't know anybody that's made any money off of these hoaxes.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, and somewhere along the way, somebody say, well, you know, let's sell beans and corn, we'll make more money.
Yes.
Yeah, but
let's get a proper job.
You know,
I was going to say one last thing on that is if you go back to the 1840s, you had the linguists of the time, people like von Bunsen and that. He wasn't Welsh at all; he was German, you know, and they were saying that there's this ancient, well, they called it an ancient Assyrian language, is a sort of mother language or the root language. And it's spread, and what's happened in most places, it's gone through major changes due to migrations and other language influences. And the only reason you find a purer version in Wales is not because Welsh is the original language, just that it's stuck on the edge of Europe and not been subjected to change or migration. They just kept this language going, and that's so it's slightly different to trying to say, well, you know, the language started in Wales and it went everywhere. We're just one of the places it went to where it's been more preserved as I think the word Alan uses is great. He calls it a living fossil, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah. You know, my mother always made an R a certain way, and I never did get to ask her. She lived to be 102, but before I just made the connection, I didn't get to ask her about it. She may not have known how she learned that R anyway, but it's the Cobrin R.
Oh, the way she wrote it.
Yeah.
Well,
it's identical. And I've known some older people who made that R that way, the 2 or 3 generations before mine. I'm older people now, but
yeah. I'm getting there. I'm not far behind. Excellent. Well, thank you very much. Can I just, before we finish, I would like to just ask. Well, I think we'll have to meet again. It's too much to cover in one night, isn't it? Because it's over an hour already. It's brilliant. Can you just say a little bit? I noticed your video about the mound builders and also Easter Island. So I'm not trying to cover everything, but as they both come up in the conversation, can you just say a little bit about those videos as well? Because I haven't had a chance to see those.
Yeah. The mound builders, I grew up around major mounds up in northeastern Kentucky, part of the state. There's Columbus, Ohio, and you go straight south 90 miles and cross the river, and you're in the land where I grew up. I grew up along the Ohio River. There was a major mound structure there. It was probably the largest earthen mound structures in the world at Portsmouth, Ohio. Most of the mounds are gone. They're probably maybe 5% of the mounds left, or maybe less.
So what sort of period did they start disappearing? When were they kind of plowed out and stuff? Do you know, or was it
historical settlement? They farmed over them. They found that they were the mounds would produce more crops than the other areas of the land, and so there've been some experiments done with that. And they've found some interesting stuff with putting seeds on top of the mounds and leaving them there and then planting them in the fields. They produce stronger crops than otherwise. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I've heard stuff with this with pyramids as well. If you
something's going on. It's beyond me at this point, but
me too. Yeah.
If I get another life or two, I may figure it out.
Start planting pyramids.
Yeah.